Yes, it's done.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 10 television shows that got progressively darker in tone as they went on. There will be major story beats discussed for the shows, so a spoiler warning is in effect.
When they tell us we have to do time in purgatory, we can all say, no thanks. I've done mine.
Squid Game.
정보야, 지금부터 무조건 내 뒤에 꼭 붙어 있어. 안 본 사이에 느끼해 져가지고 뭘 붙어 있어?
Put Gi-hoon's photos side by side and you have a pretty good indication of the show's difference in tone. Season 1, while incredibly dark, had a certain kind of whimsy to it, especially when it came to the games themselves.
무궁화 꽃? 그 옛날에 어릴 때 하던 거 말이에요? 그런 것 같은데요?
But that's totally absent in Season 2. Gi-hoon is miserable throughout, obviously suffering from PTSD and the expectations placed upon him in saving the new players. A lot of the new characters also promise further darkness and misery to come, like a pregnant woman, a mother-son duo, and even a child suffering from cancer. The cold shooting of her father pretty much sums up the merciless attitude of Season 2.
제발 살려주세요. 제 딸이 많이 아픕니다.
Orange is the New Black.
There's a cord right there. Do you think that needs to be connected to something?
Shut your mouth and stand still. She's right? Okay, fine.
One of Netflix's first big hits, Orange is the New Black started out as a quirky, fish-out-of-water comedy, with the privileged and naive Piper Chapman interacting with the kooky inmates of Litchfield Penitentiary. But oh boy, does this show go places. Season 2 introduces the manipulative V, and 4 is basically wall-to-wall drama, ending in the brutal death of Pusey, a death that has unfortunate real-world parallels. Season 5 is one long riot, and by the end, many characters face tragic fates that emphasize the lasting damage caused by systemic injustices. The initially quirky and hopeful characters are completely broken by the prison, and we are forced to watch it all in heartbreaking detail. Barry.
Afterwards, I hung out with all them.
Them?
The acting class, and they're super nice.
The whole class, including the guy you were supposed to burn?
Ryan Madison, yeah. No, he's a great dude.
Bill Hader plays Barry Berkman, a professional hitman who falls in love with acting after traveling to Los Angeles. The first 2 seasons are quite comedic, with Season 1 being especially goofy. Barry's awkwardness around others provides plenty of laughs, as does the affable NoHo Hank.
One of them is I could stab him in the nut. That's something I did once, and I'm very comfortable doing it again.
What?
Or not.
Why?
Forget about it.
Who would want this?
Can't you just shoot again?
But the show starts descending into tragedy around Season 3, and most of the laughs disappear. Barry becomes far more unhinged and unlikable, and his relationship with Sally deteriorates, and the stakes become more life-threatening. By Season 4, the tone has shifted entirely to drama, with murders, betrayals, and tragic endings galore.
It wasn't supposed to happen.
It never is.
I just wanted to be safe.
We all do.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And honey, try not to get kicked out. I promise.
This TV classic hewed close to comic book conventions. Despite some heavy subject matter, the first season was a ton of fun, with campy Monster of the Week plots, low personal stakes, and that signature Joss Whedon banter. But as the characters age, Buffy faces increasingly difficult dilemmas and more complex characters.
Looking in windows, knocking on doors. They need to take 7 and they might take yours. Can't call to mom, can't say a word. It gonna die screaming, but you won't be hurt.
The once campy monsters also get genuinely scary, like the gentleman in the widely acclaimed Hush. By season 5, Buffy has transitioned into a fully fledged adult drama. Joyce's death proves to be a pivotal moment, with the raw emotion making way for the highly turbulent, psychological, and downright depressing season 6. Luckily, the series ends on a note of hope, but things got really dark before they got better.
I'm gonna make you feel it.
Ask me again why I could never love you.
Search Party.
You know, I felt like she had a really good heart. Don't you think it's so sad?
I think it's sad.
It's sad.
I hope she's okay.
Chantal Witherbottom disappears, and her colleague, acquaintance Dory Zeef sets out to find her with the help of some friends. So begins Search Party, a lighthearted satire about millennial restlessness and internet sleuthing. But as the investigation grows darker, so too does the show.
You're doing that victim-y thing again.
Well, I'm just very upset by it all. You know, and it's devastating.
Yeah, for her, but not for you.
Am I not allowed to feel sad for somebody else?
Drew accidentally kills a private investigator and goes on trial for murder, and season 4 dips into psychological horror with a kidnapping plot. The 5th and final season is by far the darkest and most surreal, with Dory becoming a cult leader and promoting enlightenment through an apocalyptic vision. The gradual darkening of the show's tone mirrors the unraveling of the characters' minds, and it ends nothing like it began.
I have to save everyone from their pain.
Dory, I just want to reflect back to you what you just said. You said you believe that you alone can save the world, and if we don't let you out, the apocalypse is approaching.
Stranger Things.
Joyce, 99 out of 100 times kid goes missing, the kid is with a parent or a relative.
Well, what about the other time?
While the first season isn't entirely lighthearted, Stranger Things became a cultural phenomenon thanks to its Spielbergian sense of fun. Monsters, magic, shadowy government agents, oh my. But season 2 was significantly darker than the first, with an oppressive tone, far more scenes of horror, and poor Will Byers getting put through the ringer.
Easy peasy, right?
Easy peasy.
Just like that.
Season 3 was more summer blockbuster than horror, but it featured the darkest plot element yet. Citizens of Hawken dying and melting into goo to form a humongous monster made out of body parts. And season 4 was easily the darkest yet, with themes of depression and Vecna doing a whole lot of limb snapping. Stranger Things went from E.T. to Jaws real quick.
They can't help you, Max. There's a reason you hide from them.
MASH.
Frank, I happen to be an officer only because I foolishly opened an invitation from President Truman to come to this costume party. And as for my ability as a doctor, if you seriously question that, I'm afraid I'll just have to challenge you to a duel.
One of the first shows to ever do the tonal shift, MASH began as a typical sitcom, with a heavy emphasis on one-liners, wacky humor, broad characters, and zany plots. But as the show went on, it became decidedly less funny. Season by season, the humor was disappearing, the characters were becoming more complex, or even dying, and the show was tackling much heavier themes, including death, trauma, and survivor's guilt.
Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. It spun in. There were no survivors.
Even the laugh track was toned down, with some episodes omitting it entirely to reflect the more serious nature of the show. And by the time the iconic series finale ends, you'll be left in a puddle of tears. It's a brilliant pivot that was pulled off flawlessly.
I didn't mean for it to kill it. I just wanted it to be quiet.
Twin Peaks.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks. It's 5 miles south of the Canadian border, 12 miles west of the state line.
This iconic drama from Mark Frost and David Lynch begins with the murder of a teenager. So, it's pretty dark from the get-go. But this murder was simply a means to enter the zany town of Twin Peaks, with its soap opera melodrama, wacky characters, and that signature Lynchian absurdity.
There it is. Oh my God, here it is.
What?
Would you leave us, please?
Jim.
Would you leave us alone, please?
Oh, certainly.
But more darkness creeps in throughout season 2, introducing scary supernatural elements, an otherworldly dread, and psychological horror. We learn that Laura was murdered by her own possessed father, and the results couldn't be scarier. The third and final season was even darker yet, significantly upping the violence and gore, exploring existential themes about the nature of evil, and ending on a spine-chilling scream that is simply unforgettable. Breaking Bad.
What one particular element comes to mind? Wire. Copper.
Sometimes we forget just how much fun the first 2 seasons of Breaking Bad are. It was a zany adventure of 2 goofs making drugs and getting into shenanigans, and elements of comedy were still at the forefront. But everything kind of collapses once Gus is introduced.
I will kill your wife. I will kill your son. I will kill your infant daughter.
Murder abounds, Jesse falls into a horrible depression, not to mention enslavement, and Walt thrives in his role as a drug kingpin, even if it comes at the expense of his family. It all culminates in Ozymandias, which is probably one of the darkest, albeit one of the best, episodes of television ever produced. This tonal progression was similarly mirrored in Better Call Saul, although we knew from the beginning that poor Jimmy was destined for tragedy.
86 years. But with good behavior, who knows?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. The Sopranos.
Paulie, want anything?
They got any just coffee?
Our cafe du jour is New Zealand peaberry.
Marron. What up?
It's amazing to watch The Sopranos spin off in a myriad of different directions. The first 1 or 2 seasons are quite straightforward, offering up exciting mob stories and having Tony deal with funny and realistic family problems.
I'm not going to that nursing home.
Green Grove is a retirement community, and it's more like a hotel at Captain Teeb's.
Who's he?
Captain owns luxury hotels or something, I don't know. That's not the point.
But things take a major stylistic turn in season 4, which many people attribute to the post-9/11 malaise that permeated American culture at the time. The latter 3 seasons are much darker than the first 3, both in tone and visuals. The cinematography becomes much more bleak and muted, many storylines end in tragedy, and the show begins exploring existential themes around death, decay, and spiritual desolation. The Sopranos undergoes a transition unlike any other, veering off from mob story to something much grander and more philosophical.
For some reason, I'm scared.
Well, there's nothing to be scared of. You can let it go. Just come say hello.
Did you enjoy the tonal shifts of these shows? Let us know in the comments.
Tagging trees is a lot better than chasing monsters.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.